Good morning and welcome to your next math lesson. Today's lesson is on estimating products. Okay, go ahead and get out a piece of lined paper. Actually, take out your math notebook and a pencil and take down these notes. Here's the first note. When a problem asks for about how many of something, or if it tells you to estimate, you know you need to round. Anytime a problem says about how many, or if it says estimate, you always round before you solve the problem. Rounding helps us use compatible numbers. And what are compatible numbers? They are numbers that are easy to compute mentally. Now, let's look at an example problem where we have to round so that we can estimate or find out about what the answer is. That means we're not looking for exact answers. A pet store has 12 gecko lizards for sale. Each gecko lizard costs $92. About how much money would the store make if it sells all 12 gecko lizards? There's supposed to be a question mark there. Now, how do we know this isn't looking for an exact answer? How do we know they don't want to know exactly how much money the store would make? It's because of this word about. Remember, anytime a word problem says estimate, or anytime it says about, you're not looking for an exact answer. You're looking for an estimate or an answer that's close to the exact answer. And the way we find that out is by rounding. So we're not going to multiply 12 by 92. We're going to round both factors to the nearest 10 before we multiply. So let's take a look at what that looks like here. First of all, let's set up the problem as if we were going to do it normally. 92 times 12. I apologize for my bad handwriting here. Okay, 92 times 12. Well, we round both of the factors, which means we round them to the nearest 10. So with 92, we think, what are the two tens on either side of 92? We could go backwards to 90, or we could go forwards to 100. So we think, what is it closer to, 90 or 100? Well, 92 is only 2 away from 90, but it's 8 away from 100. Therefore, it's closer to 90, so we round it to 90. Now with 12, the two tens on either side of 12 are 10 or 20. Those are the two multiples of 10 that 12 is between. So is 12 closer to 10 or is it closer to 20? Well, it's only 2 away from 10, but it's 8 away from 20. So it rounds down to 10. So now instead of multiplying 92 by 12, we multiply 90 by 10. And this is really easy because we already learned that when we're multiplying by multiples of 10, we can just multiply the non-zero parts of the number. So 9 times 1 is 9. And then we just add the two zeros from the factors into the product. So the answer would be 900. Now that's not exactly what the pet store would make, but it's about what the pet store would make. So it's an estimate. Okay, that's the first example. Let's do another example. It says round both factors to solve. Okay, it says 32 times 18. So what would we round 32 to? Well, what are the two multiples of 10 on either side of 32? If we went backwards, the multiple of 10 would be 30. And if we went forwards, the multiple of 10 would be 40. So we ask ourselves, is 32 closer to 30 or is it closer to 40? It's only 2 away from 30, but it's 8 away from 40. So we round down to 30. Next, 18. What are the multiples of 10 on either side of 18? We could go down to 10 or we could go up to 20 because 18 is between 10 and 20. So is it closer to 20 or is it closer to 10? Well, it's only 2 away from 20, but it's 8 away from 10. So it rounds up this time. It rounds up to 20. And now, instead of multiplying 32 by 18, we're multiplying 30 by 20, and that's easy because we already learned that when we're multiplying with multiples of 10, we can just focus on the non-zero part of the number. 3 times 2 is 6, and then we can add the 2 zeros from the factors into the product. So 32 times 18 is about 600. It's not exactly 600. That's not an exact answer. It's an estimate, so it's close to the exact answer. Now let's take a look at 98 times 83. Okay, we have 98 times 83. We're going to round both factors, which means we change them to the closest multiple of 10. So what two tens are on either side of 98? 98 is between 90 and 100. Is it closer to 90 or is it closer to 100? Well, it's only 2 away from 100, but it's 8 away from 90, so we round up from 98 to 100. Now we round the other factor, 83. The two multiples of 10 on either side of 83 are 80 and 90, because those are the two multiples of 10 that 83 is between. Is it closer to 80 or is it closer to 90? Well, it's only 3 away from 80, but it's 7 away from 90, so we round down to 80. And now we're just multiplying 100 times 80, so we just multiply 1 times 8 and get 8. And there's 1, 2, 3 zeros in the factors, so we add 1, 2, 3 zeros to the product, and the answer is 8,000. So 98 times 83 is about 8,000. It's not exactly 8,000. The answer is an estimate. It's close to the exact answer. Okay, now let's do the guided practice together. There's 3 guided practice problems, and then you'll do the independent practice problems by yourself. We have 33 times 84. What would we round 33 to? Now, I've been teaching you to round by just deciding which multiple of 10 the number is closest to. That's a great way to do it. Another method that will give you the same answer is if you're rounding to the tens place, okay, this is the tens place right here, have that tens place look at its neighbor to the right. So this 3 is going to look at this 3. If his neighbor to the right is less than 5, this guy stays the same, but if he's 5 or more, this guy goes up 1, and this guy turns into a 0. This guy actually turns into a 0 either way. So the 3 in the tens place looks to the ones place. He looks to the digit to his right. And since this guy is a 3, 2, that means this 3 stays the same, and his neighbor becomes a 0. We'll do the same thing here. The 8 looks at the 4. He says, can I have a raise? Well, the 4 isn't high enough in management to give out raises because you have to be a 5 or greater in order to give a raise. So the 4 says, no, 8, I'm sorry, I can't give you a raise. So the 8 stays the same, and the 4 becomes a 0. Now we multiply. We multiply 3 times 8 and get 24. And there's 1, 2 zeros in both factors, so we put 2 zeros in the product, and the answer is 2,400. So that means 33 times 84 is about 2,400. Okay, next we have 68 times 7. Okay, so we round 68. The 6 asks the 8 for a raise, and the 8 says yes, because he's 5 or more. So that means the 6 becomes a 7, and the 8 becomes a 0. And when we have one of the factors that's less than 10, we generally don't round that second factor. We generally leave that one the same. And you don't always have to round both factors. If you round one of the two factors, your answer is still an estimate. So now we have 7 times 7 is 49. And then we take the 1 0 from both factors and we add it into the product, and the answer is 490. So 68 times 7 is about 490. Let's do the next one together now. We have 79 times 56. What would 79 round to? It would round to 80. What would 56 round to? The 5 asks the 6 for a raise. The 6 says yes because it's 5 or more. So the 5 becomes a 6. And the 1's place, the 6 becomes a 0. Now we multiply, and 8 times 6 is 48. And we take these 2 zeros in both factors and add them to our product. So the answer is 4,800. So 79 times 56 is about 4,800. Okay, well, that is your lesson for the day, estimate products. I've done some examples with you, and I did 3 guided practice problems with you. Now, what you'll do is write down these 2 independent practice problems inside your math notebook and solve them independently. All right, and I will catch you next time. See you later.